All right, let's talk about things you do not want to do. And I've done lots of these over the last couple of days. I've made plenty of mistakes, more than the ones that I'm going to share with you guys in this video. But I've been playing MMOs and ARPGs for basically my entire life. Games like World of Warcraft, Diablo, Path of Exile, and even with that, in just the last couple of days, there have been so many mistakes that I've made in Lost Ark. The game throws a lot at you, and if you're not experienced in this genre, it's going to be very, very overwhelming. And so I want to share with you 5 specifically, and the theme of the video is things that cost me like gold, silver, some sort of currency, and even worse, actually, we're going to start with this very first one. It cost me crystals. And I want to talk about the first mistake I made with the Bifrost. Now, if you don't know what the Bifrost is, it's kind of like a Hearthstone. It allows you to save a location and then return to that location with a cooldown, so you can't just keep spamming it over and over. But the thing is, you can have multiple of these. As you can see, I have 3 of them right now. You get 1 of them for free. 2 of them you get as a perk for the optional monthly subscription, the Crystalline Aura, and then these other ones you'll get later through progressing in the game. But the thing is, you can save location, and then you can end up moving. It has a cooldown. But if you want to change the location of your Bifrosts, you need to be careful because it also has a cooldown. And so what I did is I was moving this around. I was dropping the Bifrost location where I was like kind of working on the story, thinking it was awesome. It was amazing. Like, this is the best thing ever. And I didn't realize that there's a timer to actually change the location. Now, if you wait, it's good. You can end up resetting it here like this one. But if you're moving it around too much, you're going to run into this cooldown and you're not going to be able to move it again until you either wait for the timer or you pay crystals. So don't run into that problem. Use the Bifrost, though. It's really easy to accidentally just forget about this when you first start the game and not realize how awesome it is. But just make sure to use it strategically and just drop it in important locations. And if you need to move it, just know that you can only move it so often without paying crystals. So that's number 1 right there. Now, number 2, this is a really, really big one. And this topic is so big that there's so many different things I could talk about this, but I won't. In this video, I'm just going to focus on the one mistake that you want to be careful with because it's the one that I just made very recently, actually, like just an hour ago. So let's talk about the part of the cards system in this game. So we're going to go to roster. We're going to go to card catalog. And there's so much going on here. It's so easy to be overwhelmed. Even I'm still personally a bit overwhelmed by this. I figured out a lot more about it, but what you want to be careful with is enhancing your cards, which is giving them experience. Now, experience here, it's a limited resource. You're going to get it. It will accumulate eventually, but you just don't want to throw it around and waste it without at least some sort of plan on how it's being put to use here. So what I did is, for example, I have this card right here. I had a couple of duplicates of it, and I wanted to level it up. I wanted to feed it experience, and I actually awakened it the first time, but the thing is, I thought that I could awaken it again because I had 2 duplicates of this card. So I fed it a bunch of experience, and turns out that in order to get the next awakening level, you actually don't just need another duplicate, but you need 2. So you're going to need a lot of duplicates of cards, and it's a very convoluted system. There's a lot of complexities to it. Again, this video is not getting into the whole system of cards because there's so much going on there. Just a warning on be careful using your experience. You can hold, as you can see, a lot. You can hold a billion of it. So you're not going to fill up on this experience anytime in the future. Just, be careful. Don't throw it to waste. Don't end up making a mistake like this. And just go with a little bit of a strategic plan before you start using your cards' experience and leveling them up and doing all that sort of stuff. So that's number 2. Now, number 3. This is another really, really, really big one, and one that I also just recently made, and it has to do with the auction house and gold. So let's get into that right there. Auction house is community, market right there. Now there's the market and there's the auction house. Again, the purpose of this video isn't to get into the details of these 2 systems. Maybe I'll do that in the future because there's so much to get into with this game. It really throws a lot at you. What I will also, though, say is be careful spending and buying things on the auction house early on because it's going to look really, really good. And to me, the stuff that I was looking at looked really good when I wanted to buy it. I was like, oh man, this is amazing. This is the best stuff ever. Like it was so much better than the gear that I had, and it was so cheap. Like a couple of gold, man, this has to be a must buy, right? No, Be careful here, because even though it looks really good at the moment, this stuff is going to be replaced so darn quickly. In fact, as funny as it is, I literally replaced the stuff that I bought off the market right after I bought it, because the next tier of gear, the next upgrade is basically right after you equip this gear. So just don't waste your gold, especially lots of gold. Don't get too carried away like trying to min-max this earlier gear. I know it's going to be tempting. I know the stats are going to look very overwhelming and a lot to figure out there, but just don't get too concerned about this stuff, because it's going to be replaced in a matter of minutes, or at the very most a couple of hours. So you're just going to felt like have you wasted not only all the gold, but the time that you are researching the gear. Like that was me. I was looking at all the stats, figuring out like, man, I want the best stats for this. I want to get the good ones. And I literally replaced it right after I bought it. So don't do that. Be careful with the market. Be careful with your gold and your limited resources, and just know that a lot of this stuff is going to get replaced really, really quickly. So that is number 3 right there. Now, number 4, let's go to the Strongholds. Now, the Stronghold, again, it's one of those things, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of complexities, and even me, I'm still a bit overwhelmed about the Stronghold. But what you really want to make sure that you do is it's a cooldown, a timer-based system. So that means that you go here, you quickly click a couple buttons, and it's going to start a cooldown on stuff. And then you don't have to check it again for many, many minutes, hours, or even a day. Now, what you want to make sure that you do is you do this, and you set those cooldowns, you set your Stronghold stuff up, and then you do other stuff, and you try to manage these timers. You don't want to forget about it. Not only that, you don't want to forget about your energy. Again, just like the life skill video that I put out, this stuff gets at max, you're not getting anything out of it. It's very inefficient. You want to make sure that this is always regenerating, and you also want to make sure that in your Stronghold management, you want to make sure that there's always something that you're running and that's on cooldown. You're putting it to use, and that you just don't forget about this and realize, oh man, I could have set up a bunch of stuff and had a bunch of cooldown timers going and getting a lot of stuff out of this, but I forgot to do it, so now that efficiency just ended up going to waste. So again, lots to get into about the Stronghold, lots of complexities here, but it's just such a big system that I just wanted to mention. Just set some stuff, even if it's not anything like super great right now. Just try to put these cooldowns to use, try to have something going here, and later on you'll find out more about it, and you'll be able to min-max it a bit better. So that's the Stronghold right there. So now let's head back to town here, and let's talk about the last thing. This is a super important one. It's more like of a general mistake, and it's something that I got in a really bad habit of doing from other games. And I want to talk about red dots. Red dots in Lost Ark are your friend. It's a really good system here, a really easy system to tell you that there's something going on. So when you see a red dot, when you start the game, you're going to see them everywhere. They're going to be really overwhelming. And that's a great way to get you to the habit of ignoring all the red dots and just playing the red dot game, where you try to close them out as soon as you can so there's no more red dots on your screen. Be careful with that, because it's really easy to miss something really important, like me clicking out and skipping a red dot. Like I did something really dumb, and what I actually did is I forgot to re-equip my this stone right here. So the entire time that I was leveling up, I did not have this stone on, and I had half the HP that I could have had. It's simply because I missed the red dot and I forgot to do it. So, and I didn't know until later on. So be careful with the red dots. It's a sign from the game that there's something new. There's stats that you haven't claimed. There's something going on there. And so just don't instantly get in the habit of closing them all out, because it's really easy. With how overwhelming the game is, it's really easy to miss something super important. So just learn the red dot game, learn how to manage them, and be careful. So, again, this is just 5 of the many. Last couple of days of Lost Ark, it's been crazy. There's been tons of gains, lots of progress. I've been learning a lot, figuring a lot out, having a lot of fun. But of course, I've been really figuring a lot of this stuff out on my own with the help of my stream, of course, twitch.tv/salt. I've been streaming the game so much over the last couple of days, and it's been such a journey. But with this journey comes pain, and I didn't want that pain to be, I wanted to get something out of it. So hopefully this video and the mistakes that I shared with you guys will help you avoid them, so that you don't have to go through as much of the pain that I did. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here for this video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, consider dropping a quick like. It means a lot. YouTube algorithm stuff. It takes just a quick second, and it really does help out. So thank you to those of you guys who do that. If you're new, consider subscribing for more videos. And of course, consider checking out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/salt. Thanks again, everyone. Have a good one. And until next time.